Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here, and today we have a very long video talking about one of the future DLC maps for Black Ops 3 Zombies. Now from the looks of it, it seems like this will in fact be DLC 2, i.e. the next DLC map. However, it could be the one after that, DLC 3, but I'm pretty confident it will be DLC 2, since it's all getting hinted at now. So this map has been hinted at all the way since Shadows of Evil, and we're going to be talking about all the teasers and all the information about this map that we have as of yet, and we're also going to be delving into the backstory of it. Now, I've been talking about this map since before Black Ops 3 even was released. I've been talking about this for a very long time. So if you're unaware, on Der Eisendrache, there is actually scraps of paper around the map, similar to what we've seen on the Giants, Shadows of Evil, Origins, and also Mob of the Dead. And if you piece together all of these scraps of paper, you can actually see a load of Japanese text. Now, I'm going to be providing links in the description to all of the appropriate people who have worked together to actually translate this and put it all together, because this has given us an absolute ton of storyline information to one of the DLC maps. So the letter is actually from Takeo towards the Emperor, and I'm going to be talking about more about the Emperor within this video. But we know that this map, whatever it may be, if it's going to be DLC 2 or DLC 3, it's all going to revolve around Takeo. Now, this letter actually reads as follows. It says, "To my beloved and respected Emperor, several months have passed since I last received orders, and I cannot help but admit that I am at my wit's end. Since I landed on the island, being my foolish self, I have been continuing inspection and recording of the activities carried out by the 9th Division. Nevertheless, in spite of mine being under your Majesty's direct command, the division has begun questioning my intentions. To this end, I am now restricted entry and exit from the majority of the research areas. Even now, the situation is only growing worse. The commanding officers of the facility has ordered me to hand over my weapons for the duration of my stay. Had I not been shown the order to maintain order, marked with your Majesty's own esteemed seal, I would have voiced my objections. Never once have I brought even a shred of doubt upon your Majesty's judgment, but I feel concerned that these conditions may pose a great hindrance to the success of my mission. I am well aware of how crucial our alliance with the Germans is for us, for our great cause and eventual triumph. However, the influence of the German forces operation group named Group 935 has increasingly become nothing but a cause for worry. For many months, their numbers of officers have been increasing, and I cannot help but think that it is these officers who are spurring on the plan. As far as I have been able to discern, the research carried out by the 9th Division is far beyond the realm of normal, accepted practice. In fact, I can't describe those aberrant weapons research methods as anything but abnormal. Not only are they using prisoners of war as mere guinea pigs, the troop is trying to control even the supernatural powers hidden within Element 115. On these grounds, I feel that if we were to continue to allow them to do as they please, dark clouds loom ominously ahead for our great nation. I am doing my utmost to continue observing and reporting, but with all due respect, I am already well aware of the 9th Division's intentions, and in order to figure out the extent of the influence this will have on the outcome of the war, I deem your Majesty's direct influence to be absolutely essential. I beg of you, I hope you will find it in you to respond to my humble request. Your devoted servant, Takeo Masaki." So if you have not been watching my previous videos, you may be very confused about this, because I've been talking about this for quite some time. Now I'm going to delve into all of the different stuff that Takeo's been talking about specifically later on within this video. But where exactly is he talking about? Well, there's another cipher that's on Der Eisendrache, and if you actually translate this cipher, it reads, after the success at the Rising Sun facility, Division 9 is moving with Phase 2. The island's facility is now operational and initial testing underway. Now, the Rising Sun facility is obviously referring to Shino Numa, but this island facility is going to be where this DLC map is set. And if you don't know where this map is actually set, it's actually set in the Pompeii Islands. If you were unaware, there's another Easter egg on Shadows of Evil, where you can piece together a load of pieces of paper once again, and on this there was in fact a load of coordinates. One of these coordinates led to the Giant, one of these coordinates led to Der Eisendrache, one of the coordinates led to Stalingrad, and the final coordinate led to the Pompeii Islands. We can assume that these are going to be where these DLC maps are set. Obviously one of them leads to the Giant and also Der Eisendrache, which is why we think that we will be seeing this map set in the Pompeii Islands as well as a map set in Stalingrad. Now, from this actual letter from Takeo, we can see that Takeo is in fact a spy, and he's going to be infiltrating this Division 9 facility from direct commands of the Emperor. Now, Division 9 are a new thing within the zombie storyline. Essentially, the storyline that we've known from World at War onwards is being rewritten. We've not really heard much about Division 9 prior to this. Division 9 seems to be a force or a group of people who are very similar to Group 935. They're essentially trying to create a master race, a super race. In doing so, they're doing some very inhumane experiments on prisoners and live test subjects. Similar to Group 935, Group 935 were creating wonder weapons for the Nazis, but not only that, they were trying to create a sort of master race, but in doing so, they accidentally created zombies with element 115. We're not sure what this super race is that Division 9 are trying to create, or what exactly they're doing on this island, but whatever it is, it's of great evil. Now, the interesting thing is that obviously these events are happening during World War II, of which we cannot presume. Now, because of this, there's going to be a lot of influence from real-world events and real-world settings. Now, we don't know who Division 9 are exactly working for. Group 935 were working for the Nazis. They were creating weaponry which would aid them in the war. Now, Division 9 are also using element 115. What exactly they're doing with it, I'm not sure. Now, I believe that there will also be, whatever the wonder weapon is on this map, it will have been created by Division 9. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Division 9 have a lot of prisoners on this island set in Pompeii, and on this island they have a lot of prisoners, and as he said, they're being tested on. Now, Takeo talks about the fact that if we continue to allow them to do as they please, dark clouds loom ominously ahead for our great nation. So this actual division is going to have a great influence on the war, but I also think this is a metaphor as to what's ahead, because we know on Shadows of Evil there was a large influence from the Cthulhu mythos and the Apothicons and stuff like that, and I think that sort of influence has definitely not ended, and I think that this may be one of the huge connections which we'll be talking about later on in this video. So overall, this map is going to be set in the Pompeii Islands. It's going to be revolving around Takeo, who is in fact a spy. He's going to be infiltrating this base to either find out exactly what they're doing or to actually stop it, or both, and I presume there's going to be a lot of very dark themes. Now, in terms of the actual backstory of this area, this is what I want to delve into now. We talked about the overall gist of what this map's going to be about in terms of the storyline, but you don't even know the half of it. Right now I'm going to be talking about everything regarding Pompeii and also Lamia and how it will all tie together in terms of this map. Now, Pompeii is said to actually be set somewhere close to Lamia. Now, if you're unaware, Lamia is an underwater city that was obviously built on these islands, but was flooded and casted underwater. Now, this does in fact tie into Atlantis and Atlantis' story. However, a lot of people believe that Shadows of Evil is the Zombies storyline's version of Atlantis, and I agree with this also. Now, these Pompeii islands are going to have a similar feel to Shangri-La, because these islands are very, very vegetated, and there's a lot of sort of mine shafts, and not only that, there's a lot of temples. In fact, there's a ruined city of Nan Madol near the city of Lamia. The city, constructed in a lagoon, consists of a series of small artificial islands linked by a network of canals. The site core with its stone walls encloses an area approximately 1.5 kilometers long by 0.5 kilometers wide, and it contains nearly 100 artificial islets, stone and coral filled platforms bordered by tidal canals. Now, supposedly there was an escape tunnel beginning at the centre of Nan Madol and boring down through the reef to exit into the ocean. Scuba divers continue to look for this secret route, but so far a complete tunnel has not been discovered. This map is going to be so good. I just can't wait for this map. Its graphics are going to be phenomenal, because a forest is the perfect setting, in my opinion, for a zombies map. But here's where things get very, very interesting. So on this map, most likely we're going to be killing Takeo, because on the Ice and Draka we killed the older version of Dempsey so that his soul could be put in the summoning key. Now, we've also already killed the older version of Richtofen on the Giants, so the only two people are left to kill are obviously Takeo and Nikolai. We're going to be most likely killing Nikolai in Stalingrad, and we're going to be killing Takeo within Pompeii. Now, Pompeii is set very, very close to Japan as well, so it would all tie into the storyline. But the thing is, within Der Ice and Draka, we blew up the moon, and if you are unaware, the moon controls the waves. It controls the way the waves are, and if you actually look on this image on screen, you can see what the world is like with the moon and what it's like without the moon. When the moon has been destroyed, it will cause the world to flood. What this will mean is that a lot of these temples will be buried underwater. I definitely think this is the time of which we will finally be seeing an underwater zombies map that has been talked about all the way since Black Ops 1, and it makes complete sense to the storyline, as I'm going to delve into Lamia's storyline right now. So as I was saying earlier, one of the big secrets about Nan Madol is the fact that there was supposedly an escape tunnel beginning at the centre of Nan Madol and boring down through the reef to exit into the ocean. As I said earlier, scuba divers continue to look for this secret route, but so far a complete tunnel has not been discovered. So I think this is going to be the way that this island connects to Lamia. I think there's going to be a playable island of which will consist of all these temples and jungles and all of that Shangri-La type feel. And that's going to be where Division 9's base is, and we're going to be seeing all of the horrible experiments we've been doing on this island. And I think there's then going to be this secret tunnel, and that tunnel will take us down to this underwater city of Lamia. Now, I don't know if the map's going to be physically underwater, because within Nightmares, the Zombies campaign within Black Ops 3, there is a couple missions which are actually underwater, so Treyarch already know how to make the Zombies AI work underwater, and it'll probably have this anti-gravity feel similar to Moon, and similar to the anti-gravity room within Der Ice and Draka. So we could actually be seeing part of the map physically underwater, or what I was also thinking is that they might do it like Exo Zombies Descent, which was the final Exo Zombies map. That map was set underwater as well, but none of the map was actually underwater because there was roofs and things like that, so they could also do that to pull off this map. I'm just hoping that the gameplay is actually underwater, but we still don't know as of yet. So jumping into the storyline behind Lemuria, where this map is going to be set, well, Lemuria is the name of a hypothetical lost land, variously located in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The concept's 19th century origins lie in attempts to account for discontinuous in biogeography. However, the concept of Lemuria has been rendered obsolete by modern theories of plate tectonics. So in real life, basically, it doesn't exist, but this is the zombie storyline we're talking about, and they could quite easily make it work. Although sunken continents do exist, like Zealandia in the Pacific, as well as Mauritius and the Kerguelen Plateau in the Indian Ocean, there is no known geological formation under the Indian or Pacific Oceans that corresponds to the hypothetical Lemuria. Now this is where things get interesting. This is how it's going to work within the zombie storyline, because in real life this place doesn't exist. As I was saying, it doesn't exist because the geography of the area isn't right for this formation, for this actual city to sink. However, as I was saying earlier, within the Eisendrache we blow up the moon, and therefore the waves actually mess up, and it causes the waves to distort and the gravity of the earth to distort, and what this will mean is that a lot of this island will flood, and therefore the actual ruins and the actual temples on these ancient islands, well, most likely some of them will be flooded and they will be underwater, and I think that's going to be the explanation within the zombie storyline for how Lemuria has formed. Now, accounts of Lemuria differ, but all share a common belief that a continent existed in ancient times and sank beneath the ocean as a result of geological, often cataclysmic change, such as a pole shift. But as I was saying, within the zombie storyline, it's most likely going to revolve around the moon being blown up. Now within Pompeii there's going to be, I would presume, quite a lot of animals. Like, we could be seeing monkeys on the map similar to Shangri-La, we could be seeing lemurs, and I really can't wait for this map. There's also a lot of fossils on this map as well. Now you've got to bear in mind that the Pompeii Islands, they're not just one island, it's not just one island, it's a multitude of different islands, so most likely we'll just be playing on one island. Who knows, we may be playing on multiple islands, and maybe there's going to be something similar to the Wonder Sphere within the Eisendrache. Maybe we'll be able to actually hop across from island to island, but I doubt that because it would be quite a large map. But what this means is that one area, one island, I would presume to be playable, and then some of the other surrounding islands may have actually been flooded and been sunken underwater, and maybe those are the ones that will make up Lemuria. But I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the backstory behind Lemuria. So Scalter's theory was hardly unusual for his time, because land bridges, real and imagined, fascinated several of Scalter's contemporaries. So this other guy called Etienne, also looking at the relationship between animals in India and Madagascar, had suggested a southern continent about 2 decades before Scalter, but did not give it a name. The acceptance of Darwinism led scientists to seek to trace the diffusion of species from their point of evolutionary origin. So on Lemuria, evolution is sped up and is very, very diverse. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of traces of weird creatures on this map. Maybe the boss zombie that we could be seeing on this map could relate to this actual theory that evolution has sped up, and the different actual animal species on this island, they essentially are merging together. But now I wanted to talk about more of the darker storyline of Lemuria and how it could actually tie in to this zombies map that we're going to be playing, and how it could actually tie into the zombie storyline. Because a lot of people believe that Lemuria is the gap, it bridges the gap between Earth and Agartha. Therefore, this could be the gateway to Agartha. We could physically be going to Agartha on this map. Or maybe we won't actually be going to Agartha, but we'll be activating this sort of portal or bridge to Agartha somehow, and maybe within a future DLC we will in fact find out and actually go into Agartha itself, although that may seem a little bit far-fetched. Or maybe we will actually go into Agartha itself within the Easter egg, although I'm not entirely sure, but you can let me know your thoughts on this down in the comment section down below. So as I was saying, there's going to be a lot of weird creatures on this map, but there's something even weirder. So within Blavatsky's complex cosmology, which includes 7 root races, the 3rd root race occupied Lemuria. She describes them as about 7 feet, 2.1 meters tall, sexually hermaphrodite, egg-laying, mentally undeveloped, and spiritually more pure than the following root races. Before the coming of the Lemurians, the 2nd root race is said to have dwelled in Hyperborea, and the subsequent creation of mammals. Meanwhile, Blavatsky revealed to her readers some Lemurians turned to bestiality. The gods, ahazed at the behaviour of these mindless men, sank Lemuria into the ocean and created a 4th root race endowed with intelligence on Atlantis. So as you can see, everything's tying together nicely now, as Shadows of Evil is said to be Atlantis and is believed to be Atlantis by a lot of people. I know it's not physically underwater, but there's a lot of things like the poster on Shadows of Evil suggesting that it is in fact Atlantis, and the map is a visual representation of Atlantis in terms of the zombie storyline. So the actual Lemurians, which are said to be this sort of tribe, and they're very rogue, and they have been sort of experimenting with the actual animals, and they have been breeding with the animals, which is going to have severe effects on the wildlife in the area and just the way everything works together. Now, I presume that these Lemurians are the people who are actually being experimented on by Division 9. As I was talking about earlier, Division 9 are experimenting on people, and I would presume that they're actually experimenting on these tribal people. But this place is very based around gods and all of these sort of Latin myths and legends and all of that sort of mythical culture. So what it seems is this map is going to tie heavily into sort of all of these weird god-like figures. Now, we've seen within Shadows of Evil, we were introduced to the Apothecans. We were also introduced to the Keepers. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Keepers are returning on this map in some way, as they did on Der Eisendrache within the Easter egg, because obviously Richtofen has stolen their summoning key. And I'm pretty sure the idea of the Apothecans will be on this map and will be featured heavily on this map as well. Whether that's an underlying theme like with Der Eisendrache, where they simply had paintings showing Apothecans and stuff like that, or whether this map is whether on this map you're physically going to be able to fight Apothecans like within Shadows of Evil, I'm not sure. But I'm leaning towards the fact that we will actually be fighting actual Apothecans on this map, which is very interesting. But here's where things get even more interesting. So we know that Shadows of Evil is all tied into the Cthulhu mythos made by H.P. Lovecraft. Well, guess what? Lemuria also ties in to H.P. Lovecraft's story. Therefore, this map is going to be tying into the Cthulhu mythos as well. So Lemuria was a lost continent that was supposedly located in the Pacific Ocean. According to one estimate, it stretched from the Himalayas to the Antarctica and from Madagascar to just past Easter Island. At some point in the past, Lemuria was inhabited by a race of human-headed tentacled beings, but these were gone before the first humans came to live here. So we could be seeing this presence on this map, we could actually be seeing them on this map, or maybe we'll just see sort of ruined sketchings and statues of these weird creatures. But the thing is, on Shadows of Evil, the Shadow Man turns into this sort of tentacled-like creature. So maybe, just maybe, that the Shadow Man did in fact originate from Lemuria, and therefore maybe we will see him actually come out of the summoning key within this map, as we know he's been entrapped in the summoning key within Shadows of Evil. Or maybe there's in fact going to be more Shadow Men on this map. I don't think so, to be honest, but I just think that this map will give us a bit of a backstory of the actual Shadow Man. Now, when glaciers rolled across the Hyperborea, the Dragon King's serpent people fled to Lemuria. They lived in peace until humans defeated them after the 1,000-year war. After this war, which ended around 500,000 years ago, the human victors founded the Kingdom of Nemesis. So again, there's more influence for what this map could be based around. It's certainly going to be all based around the Cthulhu mythos and all these weird tentacle-like creatures, but it does also mention these dragons, which are serpent-like people, and also it talks about an ancient war which happened thousands and thousands of years ago. And if you're not familiar, ever since Origins we've known about this war that took place years ago, which was between Primus, it was also between the Apothecans, it was between the Keepers, the Templar zombies, etc, etc. Could this war be what we have been what we've been finding out about ever since Origins? Because there is also a cipher on Der Eisendrache which actually talks about this ancient war, which I'll put up on screen so you can actually read it. Now, I'm going to be breaking down this cipher in a future video. I'm not going to be talking about that right now, but it's interesting to see that maybe Primus was involved in this map in the past, and it would make a lot of sense because on Der Eisendrache we see statues of Primus as well, and we'll probably see statues of them on this map, I would presume, or paintings of them, or in some way they're going to be on this map. Now, the forces of chaos destroyed Nemesis, and the humans migrated west to found the 9 cities. Wizards founded the eastern kingdom of Nyan-Ja, and chaos turned them against the 9 kingdoms. After this threat passed, the 9 kingdoms squabbled until the barbarian Thongor united them under his golden empire of the sun. Lemuria entered a new age of prosperity until a series of volcanic eruptions reduced the continent to a chain of large islands. Many Lemurians emigrated to Atlantis, but some remained. By the dawn of the Hyperborean age, Lemuria had become a land of pirates and mercenaries, but still had a reputation for powerful magic. Lemuria was finally annihilated in the same cataclysm that destroyed Atlantis. Some of the remaining Lemurians fled to Kai-Ninyan or Shambhala, but most went to the Thurian continent, where they were enslaved. Millennia years later, they successfully rebelled and escaped west, founding the kingdoms of Stygia and Acheron. It has been theorized that the Sanskrit language descended from the Lemurian tongue. So that's just a bit of a backstory of this map and how it all ties into the Cthulhu mythos. Now, you've probably taken a lot in on this map, so I just want to summarize it in a few simple words. Essentially, either the next map or the DLC map after that, we will be going to an island known as Pompeii. The map's going to be set on a very, very vegetated area where there's going to be a lot of ancient temples, which are the temples of Nan Madol. Now, on this map is going to be where Division 9 are doing their experiments. This is a brand new group which we've only just heard about on Der Eisendrache. They're very, very similar to Group 935, but somewhat even more evil. They're trying to essentially create a master race and super weaponry for a purpose which we don't know what it is at the moment. They're going to be experimenting on tribal people or some other people on this map, doing some very, very horrible experiments which will result in mass death. These experiments will most likely be testing their weaponry and new devices. As I was saying, we don't know exactly what this group is doing at the moment. Maybe they will actually be worshipping the gods on this map. That could be one of their purposes. Now, furthermore, the islands of Pompeii are said to actually be set near Lemuria. Now, Lemuria is said to be an underwater city, as I was saying, and this underwater city will most likely be a playable area on this map. This city all ties into the Apothecans, the Cthulhu mythos, all these ancient gods, and all of that weird technical stuff that we're used to from Shadows of Evil. We're most likely going to be seeing the return of the Keeper's presence in some way on this map, as well as Primus. There was an ancient battle that took place here thousands and thousands of years ago, which we'll most likely hear more about on this map through ciphers and stuff like that, similar to Der Ice and Draka. This most likely involved Primus and all of that stuff I was talking about earlier as well. Lamia is also said to be where Cthulhu has been dormant for years upon years, so maybe on this map we will finally actually see the Cthulhu himself, as on Shadows of Evil we never actually saw Cthulhu, we just saw all of the other weird creatures below him in the ranks within the Cthulhu mythos. Lamia is also said to home a gateway or a bridge to Agartha, so also we could be seeing some sort of link there. But that's pretty much going to summarize everything, and also we will most likely be killing the older version of Takeo on this map, just as we've killed the older version of Richtofen on the Giant, and we've also killed the older version of Dempsey within Der Ice and Draka. That's what we're going to be doing on this map. That's going to be the whole point of the Easter egg on this map, but there's probably going to be a lot of other sort of plot twists and stuff within the Easter egg, otherwise it would be a bit too linear. Now, the reason for us actually killing off all of the older characters is because we're putting their souls in the summoning key, and we can essentially resurrect the characters at a later date. I would presume that once we've killed all of the characters, all 4 of the older versions of the characters, within the last DLC, we will most likely be resurrecting the characters, but we don't know why, we don't know what Richtofen's end goal is at the moment, we don't know why he's doing this. Maybe he's trying to resurrect Primus using the souls of the older characters. That could be a possibility, but you've also got to bear in mind that the Shadow Man's soul is also within the summoning key, so if we resurrect the characters, the Shadow Man is most likely going to arise again as well. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick summary of this map. This has been a very, very long and detailed video. If you've made it to the end, make sure to drop a like down below. This video has taken a lot of research to make, and it's probably the most in-depth video talking about this DLC map on the internet as of yet. But anyways, thank you for watching the video, Mr. Graph, here for the latest and greatest Black Ops 3 Zombies news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.